Let me ask you something bold. What if I told you that everything you've ever dreamed of, every vision, every desire you've buried deep inside of you is already within your reach? That the only thing standing between you and the life you want is a decision, a shift, a spark of belief. You are not here to settle. You are not here to be average. You are born with a mind that is limitless. And once you learn to unlock that power, there is nothing you cannot manifest. Today is not just another day. This is the moment you stop living by default and start living by design. The power of belief. Everything starts in the mind. Every great invention, every world-changing idea, every transformation, it all began as a thought. And your thoughts, they are the architects of your reality. When you believe deeply enough, when you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions toward your vision, you ignite a force inside you that is unstoppable. You attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right moments. But here's the truth. You can't just wish for it. You must condition yourself to expect it. The mind doesn't respond to wishes, it responds to certainty. When you operate from a place of absolute belief, the universe responds in kind. The science of focus, whatever you focus on, you feed. And whatever you feed grows. Most people are busy focusing on what's wrong, what they lack, what's missing, and guess what? They manifest more of that. If you want to manifest abundance, success, love, energy, you must start flooding your mind with that vision daily. You must see it, feel it, live it before it's real. That's how you bend reality. Train your mind like a laser. Cut through the noise, the doubt, the fear. Lock in on your target. Make your vision louder than your excuses. Emotions are your fuel. Your mind will not manifest what your emotions don't support. Passion, hunger, joy, certainty. These are the emotional states that turbocharge manifestation. Don't wait to feel motivated, move, and motivation will follow. Change your body, change your breath, change your energy. When your physical state is aligned with your mental focus, you become magnetic. Your job is to raise your energy to match your desires. And when you do that, when your frequency aligns with your dream, you become a manifesting force of nature. The power of decision. Your destiny is shaped in moments of decision, not when everything is perfect, not when you have all the answers, but when you decide to no longer tolerate a life that's less than what you know in your heart you were made for. Decide right now, who do you want to become? What life do you want to create? What are you no longer available for? Clarity is power. And once you decide, commit with every cell of your being. Burn the boats. Make your dream your only option. Final call to action. So I ask you right now, are you ready to stop waiting, stop wishing, stop living small? Because if you are, then today, not tomorrow, not someday, today is the day you claim the power of your mind. Today you manifest your vision. Start speaking your future as if it's already here. Start showing up with the energy of the person who already has what you desire. Start living like your dream is non-negotiable. You have everything you need inside of you right now. It's time to unlock it. It's time to rise. Go manifest the life you were born for. You were born with something extraordinary, something that separates you from every other species on this planet. It's not your strength, not your speed, and not your circumstances. It's your mind. That powerful force sitting right between your ears is the single greatest weapon you'll ever possess. It holds the key to your potential, your results, your happiness, and your destiny. And yet most people never truly learn how to use it. Your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It can either build your future or bury your dreams. The difference lies in how you train it. Just like a muscle, the mind must be developed, shaped, and conditioned for strength, clarity, and power. You cannot allow it to run wild, responding to every fear, distraction, or limiting belief. If you do, it will default to survival mode, always looking for what's wrong, what's dangerous, what might go wrong. That's how the brain was built to protect you. But you weren't just built to survive. You were built to lead, to grow, to conquer, to create. Every single thought you think sends a message, an instruction to the rest of your body, to your energy, and ultimately to the world around you. You are constantly broadcasting your beliefs through your thoughts, your emotions, your words, and your actions. That's why mindset is not a luxury, it's a necessity. If you don't program your mind, the world will do it for you. And let's be honest, most of what the world feeds you is rooted in fear, doubt, comparison, and limitation. You can't afford to let that in. You must take control. You must become the architect of your internal world. That begins with awareness, becoming conscious of the stories you tell yourself, the identity you've created and the patterns you've adopted. Too many people are stuck in loops that don't serve them. They say, I'm not smart enough. I'm too old. I never finished what I started. This is just who I am. None of that is true. It's just a mental script that's been repeated so many times it feels real. But here's the truth. You are not your past. You are not your fear. You are not your current circumstances. You are what you decide to become. The mind is incredibly obedient. If you tell it something over and over again with intensity and certainty, it starts to believe it. And once it believes it, it begins to seek out the evidence. It looks for the match in your environment. That's how your beliefs shape your reality. If you truly believe you're meant for something great, if you embody that belief in your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, your mind will begin constructing the reality to match it. That's not magic, it's psychology. It's how focus, intention, and identity combine to shape your outcome. But remember, your mind can also betray you if you're not vigilant. It will tell you to play small, to wait, to shrink in the face of risk. It will replay every past failure and remind you of every time you fell short. That voice, the one that whispers doubt, is not your truth. It's just the echo of old pain. And the only way to silence it is to overpower it with a new voice, a voice of strength, purpose, and possibility, a voice that says, I was made for more. I can create change. I am in control of my future. That voice needs to become your dominant dialogue. Training your mind doesn't mean you'll never feel fear or doubt again. It means you won't let those emotions run the show. You'll learn to observe them without becoming them. You'll learn to redirect your focus. You'll build mental habits that serve your goals, not sabotage them. Because at the end of the day, what happens around you is not as powerful as what happens within you. Clarity is the foundation of all achievement. Without it, you're like a ship at sea without a compass, drifting aimlessly at the mercy of the wind and waves. You might move, you might even feel busy, but you're not going anywhere intentionally. Clarity gives direction. It gives your thoughts purpose, your energy focus, and your actions precision. When you are crystal clear on what you want, you start to develop a sense of certainty that propels you forward with power. Most people have vague desires. They say things like, I just want to be happy, or I want more money, or I want to feel better. But vague goals create vague results. The mind doesn't respond to uncertainty. It thrives on specifics. It needs a clear target. When you don't give it one, it defaults to comfort, to safety, to habits that may be familiar but rarely lead to transformation. You need to paint a vivid picture in your mind, not just of what you want, but why you want it, how it looks, how it feels, what it will do for your life, and who you will become in the process. Clarity is about more than setting goals. It's about becoming emotionally connected to a vision that pulls you. It's about creating a mental blueprint so real that your brain begins to treat it as inevitable. When you can describe your dream in detail, when you can close your eyes and see it as if it's already done, your entire nervous system begins to rewire around it. The clearer the vision, the stronger the pull. Your energy becomes aligned. Your focus sharpens, your decisions become easier. Suddenly, you're not wondering what to do. You know what to do because the path reveals itself through the power of clarity. Clarity also eliminates distractions. In a world full of noise where everyone is screaming for your attention, clarity acts as a filter. When you're clear, you stop chasing shiny objects. You stop saying yes to everything. You start saying yes only to the things that move you forward. That's power. That's control. Most people are overwhelmed, not because they're doing too much, but because they're doing too many things that don't matter. When you're clear on your vision, you stop wasting time. You start investing in it. Another thing clarity gives you is leverage. When challenges hit, and they always do, clarity is what keeps you anchored. If your goals are fuzzy, the first obstacle can knock you off track. But when your vision is clear, you'll find the strength to push through. You'll find solutions, not excuses. You'll rise instead of retreat. You'll act based on the future you've designed, not the fear you feel in the moment. That's how leaders think. That's how creators move. That's how winners operate. Clarity also influences your identity. When you know exactly what you want, you begin to shape your self-image around that future. You stop seeing yourself as who you've been, and you begin to act in alignment with who you're becoming. That internal shift changes everything. The way you speak, the way you show up, the way you make choices. You no longer need external validation because your internal vision becomes your standard. You become less reactive and more intentional, less scattered and more strategic. That's the transformation that begins the moment you get clear. And clarity isn't a one-time thing, it's a daily discipline. You must revisit your vision every single day. You must reconnect with it, refine it, deepen your emotional connection to it. Because clarity fades when it's not nurtured. The world will try to blur your focus. Life will throw distractions, detours, and doubts at you. That's why clarity must become your obsession. It's not something you wait to feel. It's something you decide to create. And when you do, everything changes. Not just externally, but internally. You begin to live with intention. You begin to lead with purpose. You begin to think, speak, and act like the person who's already living the life you desire. What you focus on, you fuel. This truth is simple but profoundly powerful. Focus is not just about paying attention, it's about giving energy, emotion, and momentum to a specific part of your reality. Whatever you consistently focus on expands, it becomes more dominant in your experience. If you focus on your limitations, you will experience more of them. If you focus on possibilities, you will begin to see opportunities you never noticed before. Your focus is a filter that determines how you perceive the world, how you respond to challenges, and ultimately how you shape your life. Most people don't understand the magnitude of their focus. They think it's harmless to dwell on negative thoughts, to relive past failures, or to imagine worst-case scenarios. But the mind doesn't differentiate between what's real and what's vividly imagined. Whatever you consistently think about conditions your nervous system. It wires your brain. It shapes your emotional state. If you constantly focus on problems, your energy starts to match that frequency. Low, reactive, fearful, you begin to live in a loop of stress, doubt, and hesitation. You attract more of what you're focused on because your thoughts influence your behaviors, your communication, and even your decisions. Focus is a form of programming. Every day, whether you know it or not, you are programming your subconscious mind with what you allow yourself to dwell on. If you feed it fear, it learns to protect you by keeping you small. If you feed it faith and vision, it learns to push you toward growth and action. The quality of your life is largely determined by the quality of your focus. That means you must take ownership of what you choose to mentally engage with moment to moment. When you shift your focus to what you want, what excites you, what drives you, what you're committed to, you begin to shift your internal chemistry. Your energy rises. Your emotional state elevates. You move from feeling stuck to feeling unstoppable. The challenges may still be there, but your perception of them changes. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, you begin to see them as stepping stones. This isn't just positive thinking, it's intentional mental conditioning. It's training your brain to look for what's right, to search for solutions, and to lock onto possibilities rather than problems. Focus creates momentum. When you give sustained attention to a goal, idea, or mission, it gains power. It becomes alive in your awareness. You begin to attract ideas, people, and resources that align with it. Your conversations begin to revolve around it. Your habits begin to support it. You begin to act in ways that reflect that internal commitment. That's how focus transforms thought into reality. It becomes a self-reinforcing loop. The more you focus on it, the more progress you make, and the more progress you make, the more you believe in it. But focus is also a discipline. In a world that is designed to distract you, maintaining focus is a skill that must be practiced. Notifications, noise, opinions, and drama, they all compete for your attention. If you're not intentional, you'll spend your days reacting to whatever demands your attention instead of proactively creating what matters most to you. You'll fall into patterns of avoidance, of scrolling, of comparison, and of comfort. This is why guarding your focus is essential. You must learn to say no to what doesn't serve your vision, even if it feels urgent or tempting. And sometimes you won't feel like focusing on what matters. Your emotions will try to pull you toward what's easy or familiar. That's when you must remember that your focus is your power. You must direct it intentionally, not impulsively. You must decide every day where your mental energy will go. Not once, not when you're motivated, but daily. Because the more consistent your focus, the more consistent your results. Focus creates clarity. Clarity drives action. And action builds results. Emotion is the engine of manifestation. It's the fuel that brings your vision to life and transforms a simple thought into a powerful, unstoppable force. You can have the clearest goals in the world, the most detailed plan, and all the right intentions, but if there's no emotion behind it, if there's no energy, no intensity, no drive, nothing moves. The mind may initiate the idea, but emotion is what breathes life into it. It's what activates the body, commands the nervous system, and aligns your entire being with your desired outcome. When you tap into the right emotional state, everything changes. Your language becomes more powerful. Your movements become more decisive. Your actions carry more certainty. You don't just think about success, you start living it, feeling it, embodying it. And that's when manifestation begins to accelerate. That's when momentum kicks in and your energy begins to influence not just your behavior, but your environment. People feel it, circumstances shift, doors open. It's not coincidence, it's energy in motion, amplified by emotion. Most people try to manifest from a flat emotional state. They repeat affirmations with no feeling. They write down goals with no passion. And they visualize their dreams without any sense of connection. And then they wonder why nothing changes. It's not because the methods don't work, it's because the emotion isn't there. Emotion is what signals to your subconscious that this is real, this is urgent, this is who I am now. Without that emotional intensity, it's just intellectual noise. Think about the most memorable moments of your life. They weren't logical, they were emotional. Whether it was joy, love, anger, heartbreak, or triumph, those moments burned into your memory because of how they made you feel. That's the kind of energy you need to create if you want to manifest something meaningful. You have to feel it in your body. You have to flood your system with the emotion of already having what you want. When you live in that emotional state long enough, your body begins to believe the future is now. And once your body believes, your actions start to align with that future automatically. Emotion also drives behavior. When you're emotionally connected to your outcome, you don't need to force yourself to take action. You're pulled toward it. The resistance fades. Procrastination disappears. And you start to take bold, consistent steps. That's the difference between motivation and drive. Motivation is fleeting. It depends on external triggers. Drive comes from emotion, rooted in purpose. When your emotional state is aligned with your goal, you become relentless. You don't stop when it's hard. You don't give up when you fail. You get stronger. You get sharper. You adapt. You pivot and you push forward with power. Another critical piece is learning how to generate emotion on demand. Most people wait for something to happen before they feel good. But if you want to manifest your next level, you can't wait. You have to become the source. You have to learn how to change your state physically, mentally, emotionally, whenever you choose. That might mean moving your body, using your voice, changing your breath, or shifting your focus. Emotion is not something you wait to feel. It's something you create. This is where true power begins. When you realize that you don't need to feel a certain way to act, you can act your way into the feeling. You can move your body into confidence. You can breathe your way into calm. You can speak yourself into certainty. And once you do that consistently, emotion becomes a tool. It becomes something you use intentionally to power your vision. You no longer wait for ideal conditions to feel strong. You generate the strength from within and let that emotion guide every thought, decision, and action. Take relentless action, even if it's messy. This is where most people hesitate, and it's also where the few who succeed separate themselves from the many who only wish, hope, and wait. Manifestation isn't a passive process. It's not about sitting still and visualizing a perfect life until it magically appears. Visualization is powerful, but only when it's followed by execution. Action is what bridges the gap between your current reality and the future you desire. Even imperfect action has more value than perfect ideas that never leave your mind. People often get stuck because they believe they need to have everything figured out before they move. They think they need the perfect plan, the right timing, or absolute certainty. But the truth is, clarity comes through action, not before it. You don't gain confidence by sitting still. You build it by moving forward, stumbling, learning, adapting, and continuing on. The path doesn't appear before you start. It reveals itself as you move. If you wait for all green lights before you leave your driveway, you'll never leave. Action is how you prove to yourself that you're serious. It's how you send a signal to your subconscious mind that your dream is not just a fantasy, it's a command. There's an energy in taking bold steps. It generates momentum. It builds belief. Every time you act on your goal, no matter how small the step, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. You reinforce your identity as someone who doesn't just think big, but moves big, and that energy multiplies. One small action leads to another. Before you know it, you've built a rhythm, and that rhythm becomes a routine, and that routine becomes your new standard. Messy action is still forward motion. You will make mistakes. You will face setbacks. You will have moments of doubt, confusion, and discomfort. But that's not failure, it's feedback. Every mistake teaches you something. Every stumble strengthens your resilience. The people who win are not the ones who had flawless execution from day one. They're the ones who kept going when things didn't go as planned. They learned fast, adjusted quickly, and refused to let perfectionism become procrastination. They understood that momentum is more valuable than mastery in the beginning. Action also creates visibility. When you start moving, people notice. Opportunities that were hidden start showing up. Resources that seemed unavailable start appearing. Your boldness acts like a magnet, drawing the people, ideas, and chances you need into your orbit. But none of that happens until you move. The world does not respond to intention alone. It responds to commitment backed by movement. When you act, you show life you're serious, and life begins to cooperate with your determination. Taking action trains your nervous system to handle more. Every time you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you expand what's possible for you. You stop shrinking from the unknown, and you begin to embrace it. You begin to associate action with growth instead of fear. The hesitation that once held you back starts to fade. You begin to feel powerful, capable, and ready. Not because you waited to be ready, but because you became ready through doing. There's no perfect time to act. There's no ideal moment where everything aligns. The power lies in doing it now, while the fear is present, while the doubt still whispers, while the path is still uncertain. That's where transformation lives. You grow not by planning endlessly, but by doing fearlessly. You get better not by thinking harder, but by stepping forward, even when you feel unsure. That's how confidence is built on the battlefield of consistent, imperfect, unrelenting action. Decide that your dream is non-negotiable. That single decision has the power to rewrite your life. Not maybe, not someday, not if everything goes right, but a firm, unshakable, no turning back kind of decision. Most people never truly decide. They wish, they hope, they talk about what they want, but deep down they haven't committed, and without commitment there is no power. The moment you decide, really decide, that your dream is no longer optional, you activate a force within yourself that begins to reshape your identity, your choices, and your results. Decision is a line in the sand. It's the moment where you stop entertaining old patterns. It's when you stop tolerating mediocrity, distraction, and excuses. It's when you stop negotiating with your limitations. It's a moment of clarity where your future becomes more important than your comfort, more meaningful than your fear, and more urgent than your doubts. That's when the shift happens. That's when the energy changes. You go from someone who wants a better life to someone who is committed to creating it, no matter what it takes. Real decisions aren't just made in your head, they're made with your entire being. You feel it in your body. You speak it with conviction. You act on it relentlessly. You no longer ask if it will happen. You decide that it will, and you back it up with action, attitude, and relentless persistence. That decision becomes your internal compass. It guides you when you're tired. It keeps you focused when you're distracted. It reminds you of who you are when the world tries to pull you back into your old identity. When your dream becomes non-negotiable, you start thinking differently. You stop entertaining plan B. You eliminate the safety nets that once kept you small. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating momentum with whatever tools you have. That decision builds emotional muscle. It gives you strength on the days when things feel heavy, uncertain, or overwhelming. Because when something is non-negotiable, you don't give yourself the option to quit. You keep moving. You adapt. You fight for it. This kind of decision shapes how you see the world. Challenges no longer become reasons to stop. They become proof of progress. Setbacks are no longer signs to retreat. They are signals to adjust and grow. You begin to welcome resistance because you know it's part of the path. You stop expecting ease and start building endurance. That internal toughness is forged in the fire of non-negotiable commitment. It also changes how you manage time. You no longer say, I'll work on it when I have time. You make time. You rearrange your schedule. You drop the things that drain you. You prioritize your dream like your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. The life you're meant to live, the impact you're born to make, the freedom you're seeking, it all hinges on that one decision that this is no longer optional, that this is who you are, that this is happening. You stop waiting for permission. You stop asking for approval. You take full ownership of your path. You start walking into rooms differently. You speak with certainty. You carry yourself with purpose. People begin to feel your energy shift. They start to respect your boundaries, your focus, your fire, because they can tell you've decided. You're no longer dipping your toes in the water. You've jumped all in. You've eliminated the exit doors. You're building your dream not because it would be nice, but because it's necessary. It's who you are. It's what you came for. And now that decision is driving every step forward, every action taken, every habit built, and every result created.